topic. A senior official from the Arab League has revealed that ongoing discussions between China and Egypt are expected to reveal significant areas of agreement as both nations work to deepen their strategic partnership. These talks are being held within the framework of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum, or CAS-CF, which serves as the key platform for coordinating cooperation between China and the Arab world. Central to the agenda are pressing regional issues, including the escalating conflict in Gaza. Both sides aim to address the implications of this conflict in regional security and stability, highlighting the importance of diplomatic collaboration in the Middle East during these turbulent times. Beyond political concerns, the talks will also focus heavily on expanding economic partnerships, trade, technological exchange, as well as renewable energy initiatives. These are seen as critical sectors where China and Arab nations, especially Egypt, can cooperate to promote sustainable development and support ongoing normalization efforts in the region. Further announcements are expected once the talks conclude, as both sides look to outline concrete steps for cooperation moving forward. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Nasser Marshni. He's a president at Australia-Palestine Advocacy Network. Thank you, Nasser, for staying with us. Now, you have mentioned in our previous discussion that maybe there's not much that European countries are doing or could do. Do you think Arab countries, on the other hand, can do something now or are doing enough?
Well, indeed, Arab countries can and should do more, but they haven't. They are sycophantic to the American Western hegemony and Western empire. We've seen that absolutely with those that have signed the Abraham Accords. We've seen that with the land corridor that has been enabled by the Emirates, whilst the Houthis and the Yemenis have made sure that the Israeli shipping has been denied through the Red Sea. The Arab regimes are merely participating and as complicit as the European Union in the genocide that's happening.
And well, still looking into this topic, how significant is this deepening strategic partnership between China and Egypt for the wider Arab world?
Well, anything that disconnects American imperialism, American hegemony in the Middle East can only be a good sign. I'm hopeful that that breakdown or a breaking of that American stronghold over the Gulf and the Arab countries might augur better conditions for all, for not just for Palestine and the Middle East, but for the rest of the world. We need a world tomorrow where people are treated equally, that we're judged by the content of our character, not by our religion, not by the color of our skin. The reality is we have seen so many dead, innocent men, women, and children. And it beggars belief that the world is watching this live streamed 4K digital genocide, and it's allowed to happen on all our watches. It's shameful.
Yes, and now going back to our discussion topic, what role can China realistically play in addressing regional security issues like the conflict in Gaza?
Well, look, it depends on how much it wants to intervene. Does it want to be a regional superpower? Does it want to do that? From all my understanding of China's ambitions, it wishes to be an economic power, not a regional military power. So its engagement would depend on what it wants to do. I'm not Chinese. I don't know what the Chinese plans are for the Middle East. What I do know is that the garrison state that is Israel, the barbaric apartheid state that is Israel, exists in the way it does because of white supremacy, because of Western imperialism and Western hegemony. And it has to end. It has to end. You cannot do what Israel has done to the Palestinian people for a century now and get away with it.
Yes, and Nasser, although we don't know, it's unclear about what China's intentions are with the Arab ties. Could stronger China-Arab ties shift this balance of influence in the Middle East away from the West?
Look, it possibly could. I don't know how much investment China wants to do, how much engagement it wants to do. I'm no Chinese expert. What I do know is who is to blame. And who is to blame is American imperialism, American Western hegemony, and Zionism as an ideology, a despicable, racist, hate-filled ideology.
And how might Egypt benefit economically from these new trade paths with, including with China?
Again, I'm not an Egyptian economic expert, but I imagine any export markets that Egypt might be able to open up will help their economy, might be able to unpin their dependence on US aid, which would necessarily open up the opportunity for a more independent foreign policy. But whilst Egypt is ruled by a dictator, I don't imagine that things will change very quickly. All we need is democratic reforms throughout the Arab world.
Thank you very much, Nasser Mashni, for joining us today and sharing your insight as President of Australia.